Imagine for a second that your income doubled today, right now. All your financial worries would disappear, right? You would finally be happy. You would finally feel rich. Maybe for you, the magic number is $1 million. Maybe it's 10 million. You tell yourself, if I just hit that number, the anxiety will stop. I will finally be enough. But here is the brutal truth that financial gurus rarely tell you. Your brain is biologically wired to never let you feel rich. In fact, getting richer might actually make you feel poorer. We chase the horizon, but the horizon always moves. We hustle, we sacrifice our sleep, our health, and our time, running towards a finish line that doesn't exist. Today, we're going to deconstruct the paradox of wealth. We will travel from the libraries of 18th century France to modern neuroscience labs to answer one simple question. Why is enough never enough? And how can you hack your brain to finally win this game? To understand why we are never satisfied, we must go back to the year 1765. Meet Denis Diderot, a brilliant French philosopher, the co-founder of the Encyclopedia, but a broke one. He lived a simple, humble life until one day, everything changed. Catherine the Great of Russia heard of his financial struggles and bought his library for a fortune. Suddenly, Diderot had money, serious money. So he decided to treat himself. He bought a beautiful scarlet dressing gown. It was elegant, it was luxurious, it was perfect. But as he wore it around his humble apartment, he noticed something disturbing. In his own words, he said, there was no more coordination, no more unity, no more beauty. His old straw chair looked ugly next to the robe. His desk looked cheap. The rug looked ragged. The elegance of the robe humiliated the rest of his possessions. So he replaced the chair with a leather armchair. He replaced the desk with an expensive mahogany table. He bought a Damascus rug. He bought sculptures. One by one, the robe demanded a new chair, a new mirror, new paintings. Slowly, the robe hijacked his entire life. He spent his entire fortune trying to match the level of his robe. In the end, he sat in his luxurious room, broke once again. He wrote an essay titled "Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown." He warned us, I was absolute master of my old dressing gown, but I have become a slave to my new one. This phenomenon is now known as the Diderot effect. It is the spiral of consumption that happens when a new possession exerts pressure on you to upgrade everything else. But Diderot was lucky because today this effect is much, much deadlier. You might think, I'm not Diderot, I wouldn't spend it all on furniture. But let's look at the modern equivalent, the lottery winner. Statistics show that nearly 70% of lottery winners end up broke within a few years. Why? Are they stupid? No, they are victims of a psychological trap called lifestyle creep. When you win $1 million or simply get a big promotion, you don't just buy a better car, you move to a better neighborhood. And this is where the trap snaps shut. In your old neighborhood with your old salary, you might have been the wealthiest person on the street. You felt successful. But in your new wealthy neighborhood, you are the poorest person on the street. Your neighbor has a bigger boat, a better landscaper, a newer Porsche. Suddenly, your $1 million feels like pennies. Sociologists call this relative deprivation. We do not judge our wealth by how much we have. We judge it by comparing ourselves to the people immediately around us. As you climb the ladder, the people around you change. The standard for normal shifts. You run faster and faster just to stay in the same place. But why do we do this? Why can't we just be happy with what we have? The answer lies deep inside your brain chemistry. When you want that new car or that promotion, your brain releases dopamine. But here's the trick we often misunderstand. Dopamine is not the molecule of pleasure. It is the molecule of anticipation. It is the fuel that makes you hunt. It is designed to keep you moving, not to let you rest. Once you get the car, the dopamine cuts off. Mission accomplished. The chemical high evaporates. Now your brain needs a new target to keep you moving. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. No matter how fast you run, no matter how much you buy, your happiness levels eventually return to your baseline. But it gets worse. Researchers at Princeton University discovered something called the scarcity mindset. They found that when you obsess over what you don't have, whether it's time or money, your functional IQ actually drops by up to 13 points. That's equivalent to losing a night's sleep. The stress of wanting more literally makes us less intelligent. We make impulsive decisions, bad investments, and buy things we don't need just to quiet the noise in our heads. We try to buy our way out of anxiety, but we're digging the hole deeper. In 2025, the Diderot effect is on steroids. It's not just a robe anymore, it's your Instagram feed. You're not competing with your neighbors, you're competing with billionaires you've never met. We play what Naval Ravikant calls status games, and the rule of the status game is simple. If I win, you lose. It's a zero-sum game. If your definition of wealth is having more than others, you'll never be rich, because there's always someone with a bigger yacht. There's always someone younger, faster, and richer. The items we buy, the watches, the cars, the clothes, are often just signals. We're signaling to the tribe, look, I have resources, I am valuable. But the irony is, when you drive a Ferrari, people don't look at you, they look at the car. They imagine themselves in the car. You think you're buying respect, but you're only buying envy. And envy is a very lonely companion. So, is there a way out? Yes, but it requires a radical shift in philosophy. We must look to the Stoics. Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, would periodically live like a beggar for a few days. He would eat barely enough to survive and wear rough clothes. Why? To prove to himself that he didn't need his wealth to be happy. He broke the dependency. Here's your protocol to break the Diderot effect. Number 1, the 30-day rule. If you want to buy something expensive, wait 30 days. Let the dopamine fade. If you still want it after a month, buy it. But 90% of the time, the craving will vanish. Number 2, buy assets, not liabilities. Use your money to buy freedom, which means time, not things that require maintenance and insurance. And number 3, define your enough. Pick a number, write it down. Define what a successful life looks like for you, not for your Instagram feed. Once you hit it, stop running. Step off the treadmill. True wealth isn't about the number in your bank account. It's about the ability to wake up in the morning and say, I own my time. That is the only luxury that matters. Whatever you're chasing right now, ask yourself, is it a need or is it just another scarlet robe? If you want to escape the matrix of endless consumption, join us. Subscribe to Mind Be More. Let's build a wealthy mind together.